is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdates 211219.1. On the 19th day of Moistmas, because yes, we've gotten this far, my whole crew gave to me a 3D model of Goatsy, a pencil case, and a really small jar of honey. The Secret Santas had better be good, or I'm going to rage. There is no version of this, let's call it a series, where I cannot not do a video on Onision. And the reason why is because he's one of the very first people I covered within the exhibition of Stupid People as a dedicated video. I also long ago did a video on him in like 2015, 2016. A few years later he flagged it, claiming then the money all belonged to him from that video, to which I then simply, because the video made maybe 1 cent a month, just deleted the video. I have since then made 3 videos talking about Onision. And so now we reach a part where I'm going to play clips from all 4 of those videos. Yeah, I've still got the original one from 2016. The audio's really bad. I do apologize in advance. Things have moved on since then, but it's okay. My issues concerning the sibilance is still prevalent. Just to show how important this video is to me, I'm going to leave this onion on my desk. Take it away.
Feminism isn't needed in the Western world. Or so that's what a lot of you idiots keep saying. If you are an anti-feminist, you might want to click away from this video, because you are about to get decimated.
Milady.
Feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of political, social, and economic equality to men. Keyword, equality. Now, the reason I have to point this out is because people say stupid shit like egalitarianism is better than feminism, even though it's basically the same thing.
Okay, so an egalitarian, believing in or based on the principle that all people are equal and deserve equal rights and opportunities, and a person who advocates or supports the principle of equality for all people. Now let's compare that to the definition of feminism. The advocacy of women's rights on the ground of the equality of the sexes. So, no.
They both call for equal rights. But for some reason, despite the fact that they're basically the same thing, you guys can't get over the fact that it starts out with fem, as in female. The word defined starts with fem. For some reason, your brain just turns off after that point.
All fem does is remind me it is a movement for women. It doesn't put me off. What puts me off is the actions of those who act in the name of feminism. Feminists that turn up at MRA events and set off the fire alarm or shout over the speaker. Those that attack men in the streets. Those that attend other speaking engagements and slap blood on their face. Because, of course, we need to see what's inside your vagina on the outside. Ew. The full version of that video is over 20 minutes long, and what I'm going to do is, in the pinned comment, I'm going to re-upload that video, but I'm going to archive it. So it'll be unlisted, so you can view it if you want to watch the full thing, but it won't be monetized. Don't worry, it will be very much demonetized. It was a very antiquated style of format, response videos that is. It wasn't something I built my channel on. I moved very quickly once that format went stale towards what I originally started as, and that was news commentary. Onision at the time was a bit of a punch bag for this. So skipping ahead to 2020, when I next covered him in the 10th exhibition of Stupid People, we discussed the following. Today shall be Gregory Jackson, aka the artist known by the number of names of Onision, Onision Speaks, and Uh-Oh Bro. I would address Kai, but I'm not entirely sure how to address Kai. Kai confuses me. Since the last video I did on Onision, a number of things have happened. Some of it staged, and quite clearly so, and some of it not staged, just unsurprising, and other things have included his dirty laundry continuing to be aired on the Have a Seat with Chris Hansen YouTube channel. Around the time of Thanksgiving, Blair White on her second channel did a reaction video to 2 separate meltdowns from Gregory Jackson. In the video, she made a point, an interesting point, that his numbers were in decline and he wasn't making any money from what he was doing. So I went to his social blade for all 3 of his channels and noticed he is still getting views. He still gets the attention. Granted, on one of those channels, he is getting a lot of the attention from the 22 plus videos he has made at time of recording, which all involve him having some form of a breakdown. But Gregory Jackson's meltdowns all take place on the Onision Speaks channel. His social blade would indicate he is getting hundreds of thousands of views a day. I have yet to encounter on any of them a single ad. I don't have ad block, okay? I am also aware that he has a tax bill so eye-watering that when I saw it, I felt very grateful for being considered low income. I believe $600,000 was the claim he made. It was suggested in Blair White's video that he go get a job at McDonald's. Would, by the way, show a clip of that video, but since she played clips of his video in that video, he'll probably just claim it by association, if he hasn't already claimed her video, which a few weeks later, oddly enough, he put out a video saying he was applying for a job at McDonald's. Apparently he watches Blair Black. While Chris Hansen has gone out of his way to get all those that have been involved in his past, or anyone that has anything on Gregory Jackson has been making very short videos every single day. Those videos have garnered hundreds of thousands of views, meaning his channel is getting a lot of attention. Now, the law of diminishing returns is now coming into effect. So 2 weeks ago when he made one video that got 978,000 views, to yesterday getting 75,000 views. The law of diminishing returns because in these short videos, every single time edited, he proceeds to explain something that has happened, ask the audience to do something. If they don't do it, he'll sue them, and then have some moments where he looks like he might be a bit cross, upset, emotional, possibly. But since I've yet to see a single video where the tears are real and aren't plastered on only one side of his face, indicating that one of his eyes might be malfunctioning, I'm inclined to believe, and this is the point, it is all fake. You have over the years, Gregory Jackson, been accused of being nothing more than a supreme narcissist, and I'm inclined to believe that is the case based on these videos, with you being removed from your home, staying in a hotel after, I believe, holding a sign and getting $249 or $44, I can't remember. So you were able to stay in a rather nice hotel. And after going incognito to look at your Twitter, I found no indication that you were in fact doing this, just a lot of what most would call misogyny. In fact, it's the very thing you yourself would call that, based on a few years ago when you talked about feminism. I find that to be quite interesting, but then again, when you are nothing more than a glorified attention seeker, it is understandable that you will do this. The most recent claim you've made is that you have been to a doctor and you are a little under the weather, and that everyone else should take precaution because the problem you have can actually affect those that have had skin-to-skin contact. Thank you for that. We all appreciate it, but thankfully that's not how we catch a computer virus. There are aspects of that video that haven't aged well, more notably the fact that at the time Hansen was still semi-well thought of. Oh, how time flies. Although some of the comments I made in that video I couldn't help but notice seemed almost prophetic. For example, him being monetized, which I guess brings us to the next video in this list. So, we're going to talk about Onision for a while. The reason why is because a lot has happened over a very short space of time, and I just want to give you a rundown, because no one talks about Onision just neutrally. There's always a, you did this, you did that. I don't care about that. My view is always, unless he is actually sent before a damn judge and convicted, we have to be careful. The accusations are piling up, and they are getting quite bad, and there are repercussions or ramifications for it, and we should certainly address those as well. It is the majority of his income. Well, now it is definitely. It is a huge source of income because he doesn't have what many would call an IRL job, or as I put it, a job away from the computer. Over the years, he has made some rather interesting content, things I actually kind of support. Mental health awareness is up there, but he's also made content that has made people recoil because it is the kind of content where he judges people based on appearance. He has made videos about how he's a feminist and how you should be too, defending SJWs and being one himself, health-related videos that showed he's a hypocrite. One of the biggest well-known traits about him, though, is that he has quite a young audience, quite malleable, so much so he married one of his super fans and has a kid with them. Over the years, many have come out and accused Onision of grooming. The accusations come from experience with their interactions with him. There are many controversies, by the way, many that center around him, but we're going to focus on the child-related ones because I am somewhat surprised that no one has acted. One of the most damning statements involving Onision was actually a bunch of debates he did with people online. One of my favorites was the one with Blair White. or was it 2? I think it was 2. And you could see cracks in his armor. I can't show this, by the way. He will copyright strike any imagery of him. Anything. No joke. I don't understand Onision when it comes to this. He is very precious when it comes to criticism. So I'm going to give it to you frankly. There are a number of girls that have come out recently with video evidence alleging that you groomed them, you bullied them, you abused them. I think this should all have gone straight to the police. All of it. Every single drop of it, instead of being put on the internet. I think this because I believe I would rather it were up to the police and the judges to deal with, as opposed to what is more commonly known as the court of public opinion. The opinion, public opinion that is, of Onision anyway, is incredibly low. I want him to go before a court with the evidence that has been presented. He is a man who by definition is incredibly privileged. To add to the punishment he has been receiving when it comes to all the accusations and the plethora of videos that have come out, recently during a live stream, Blair White was talking to Chris Hansen about him. Chris Hansen, now being alerted to the existence of Onision, has made it a point to discuss things with Onision. But Onision has made demands which are incredibly ridiculous monetarily, preconditions to go on a live stream and sit down with Chris Hansen. Well, let's skip ahead. And Onision decided to dock somebody. Oops. Big oops. With a huge consequence. You see, Onision has a problem. His problem is his temper. His temper is renowned because when he loses his temper, he does stupid things. And then he suffers from instant regret. But his regret isn't in the form of guilt, it's in the form of it's everyone else's fault that I lost my temper. So he made a video because of the consequences. And the consequences were he lost his Patreon. I remember when everyone was celebrating this, because many people were very much in the favour of deplatform Onision because he doesn't deserve to have a platform, nor does he deserve to make money from the platform. I took the stance of, not sure I'm okay with the demonetizing aspect, but TOS does exist for a reason, so I don't have to have a moral perspective. And second, if he is deplatformed, I can't see him. So what is he doing? Skip ahead a fair bit, because the gap between this one and the last video I did is, well, almost a year, and we discussed the following.
Here's an email from YouTube essentially telling me that I can no longer make money on YouTube. It looks like they had a whole speech planned just for me, but who knows, maybe this could be a carbon copy email of what they send a lot of people who are accused of random things. But unfortunately, after about 14 years on the platform, because of Shiloh following through with her promise to destroy my life, destroy my career, leave me with nothing, here I am with this email.
So that was an interesting piece of video, wasn't it? According to Onision, he no longer is a member of the YouTube Partner Program and is therefore ineligible to receive monetization, which also means memberships for those who think he can. I checked his channels, he does not have it. It means his videos will not get promoted, unless by somebody who is hate watching and responding to everything he does. I'm looking at Repsion. You're pretty much his biographer at this point. Onision being demonetized has been seen as a good thing by many, but there is some grey area. It's the email he received that is the grey area, but also some negative, and that comes from also some of those that celebrated this demonetization, because there are a number of alarm bells raised within the email itself, but also how we got to this point where it actually happened. And for this, we have to go and throw some more shade at Chris Hansen. As many of you know, at the end of my content constable on Chris Hansen, he sold the Onision story and investigation to Discovery Plus, something which rightly aggravated a lot of those online because no one knew it was his intention, which is why he only passingly mentioned it after selling the investigation in his own videos and streams. Other parts of the documentary that annoyed people would include the fact that he used people who said no, victims of Onision, in the documentary, as told by himself or Shiloh, or they were told incorrectly. The stories were warped for a optics thing. Many YouTubers themselves who were originally a part of the online streams, also many YouTubers like Blair White, rejected being in the investigation documentaries. So to get back on track, we should probably look at the email that has me a little bit irked. Hi James. Responsibility is our #1 priority at YouTube, and it is important for us to ensure that creators are empowered to use their influence responsibly in the YouTube community and beyond. With that in mind, we recently reviewed your channels and took action on content that violated our community guidelines. Did you either remove it or give him community guidelines strike?
Minx. As I didn't hear anything about the latter, I assume the former. We are also concerned about continued allegations of off-platform behavior related to child safety that could cause significant harm to the community, violating our creator responsibility guidelines within our YouTube Partner Program policies. Now this part's quite concerning to me, because it is something Twitch does when they changed their TOS a few years ago. If you do something on another platform that reflects badly on them, or makes you look bad enough that they have to act to protect themselves, they will suspend and or yeet you. So YouTube taking this kind of stance is a concern for many creators, but there are questions and we'll get to them after this. These guidelines explain that we don't allow egregious behavior that has a large negative impact on the community. Additionally, this means you should be respectful of your viewers, your fellow creators, and our advertisers. You've got the order wrong, both on and off YouTube, and now in bold because this has to be driven home. Therefore, we have determined that your channels will be indefinitely suspended from the YouTube Partner Program and no longer eligible to monetize. Disclaimer, a lot of additional context is missing in those clips, but I really didn't want this to be a case of me simply playing the entire video, well, all 4 of them, and then adding where are they now at the end. I do recommend watching them all so you have the full scope, also because they are much longer and there are more gaps. Bring coffee. You may need it to stay awake. So where did Onision go next? He had lost Patreon, he had lost YouTube AdSense, he had mounting issues concerning the wetlands that he had violated, he had issues in the legal sense as well from Chris Hansen, and other cases brought against him. Well, with very limited income, and no doubt very little savings, that tax bill I'm sure wiped him out, Onision took to Twitch. For a while, it didn't last. So Onision went to another place, and this one, I'll admit, was a curveball. Onision joined the vaunted ranks that Foodie Beauty used. Hell, Amberlynn Reed had an account there briefly. Nikocado Avocado has even used this platform. Quite popular, I'm sure. And yes, this does in fact mean Onision got an OnlyFooper. And I'll tell you what, I was a little surprised when someone DM'd me a picture of him on OnlyFooper for 2 reasons. One, I couldn't believe he'd actually gone there, but second, for a man in his late 30s trying to look like an emo in his early 20s, i.e. a much smaller body than you realise his craggy face gave him away for his age though, he was packing a bit more than I anticipated. And yes, by all means.
That's what she said, yes.
If you really, really want. It was quite the surprise. I'm hoping he did well from that, because he needed that money, didn't he? For those court cases. Now, Onision did put some content out over the course of the last year, and before in fact. Some of those videos are deleted, some were used as gotchas against Shiloh more notably, but people just attacked cause how dare he go after Shiloh. This is where people like Edwin Costa come into it because he was very critical of Shiloh for a number of reasons. By all means, go to his channel Homeboys Got Receipts, I think that's the one he did it on. If not, it would be Edwin's Generation. He goes over a lot of that, and it is quite interesting. But back to Onision. So what did he do next? Or more importantly than that, where is he now? He uploads content to his channels. He does the odd response video, he's gone in on social repose, he has uploaded videos with DMs concerning one of the alleged victims of Onision, he's gone in on Chris Hansen, and he's also kind of pointed out that, well, nothing's really happened to him at all. Certainly when it came to any investigation concerning crimes he was alleged to have committed against minors, which, let's be honest here, is a damning statement for just how inept the criminal justice system can be perceived to be by the majority, but also how useless Chris Hansen is. Then again, what did anyone expect from an online investigation to then be taken to the police, where all evidence was displayed publicly, which then can be argued to be tampered with, honestly. As far as his stats go, Onision's channels are effectively dead. He doesn't get any views, he must be regulating his comments because there are barely any on any of his videos. Obviously with the dislike being hidden and the likes being quite low as well, I have no doubt he is still fairly poorly received. And I don't think he's a part of the YouTube Partner Program because I went through a fair few of his videos and I didn't get a single ad on any of them, unless he just straight up demonetized even if he was readmitted. I know his OnlyFans are still up, both accounts. I believe he has one where he is More the sub than the dom. Don't know what that means in the context of him, but can't hate the player for making his money, right? I think we've reached the end of this one because I'm not entirely sure what I can add. I'm impressed he's still around. I'm impressed he's not been locked up. I'm impressed at how much people failed at trying to take him down, but I will give them credit. They did help him destroy his channel. Congratulations, you did some fantastic work. Do I need a sarcasm sign for that? With Onision and his quite spectacular fall, one which many would argue to be long overdue, I do want to know what you all think about it, so please do let me know in the comments down below. It really helps this channel if you smash the like, if you did enjoy the video of course, and share it about. Thank you all for joining, hope to see you next time. Ta-ta.